going at this level. Smashing. Okay, I'll try that. I think what a fantastic and exciting time this is in Scotland. I mean, I think we are going through a unique experience in all our lives. The opportunity to talk at some length among ourselves as we are tonight about what kind of society we want to be, about what our values and priorities are, what we think is important, what we're passionate about, what we care about, and how we manage to achieve the sort of changes that we know we need to achieve in Scotland. So, and I will say this irrespective of what happens on September 18th, and I do very firmly believe we're going to win on September 18th, to make that clear. But whatever the outcome, supposing something unexpected happened and we didn't win, I still think this is a fantastic experience we're going through. And as Jean said, whatever happens, it doesn't end here, because people now in Scotland are determined to change the way things have been and to achieve a better society for themselves, their children and their grandchildren. I'll talk a bit about the Yes campaign, because Alan and Jean, I think, have laid out, just about every key argument that there is for a Yes vote. The arguments around social justice, the arguments around having a stronger economy and growing that economy so we can create really good jobs for people, and the arguments around democracy and getting governments that we actually want, imposing policies or adopting policies that we actually like in distinction from the present circumstances. So let me talk a little bit about the campaign and why it is so special and so unique. One thing is the fact that it's brought in so many people who've never ever been involved in politics before. I'm going all over Scotland at the moment, as are my colleagues. Public meetings are happening everywhere in Scotland every day of the week, in small towns and villages and large cities. And it's bringing in loads and loads of people who've never been involved in this before. And that is a tremendous release of energy, a tremendous release of ideas. And the one thing that seems to be now agreed in a campaign where there's quite a lot of disagreement between the two campaigns and a lot of people who are passing opinions and commenting on the nature of the campaign, the one thing that does seem to be more or less commonly held is that all the energy and all the ideas in this campaign are coming from the Yes side. And there's a tremendous diversity of ideas. People from different points on the political spectrum, people from different backgrounds and different priorities, all talking about what we could do with the powers of independence and the kind of things that we could actually achieve and the kind of things that we could deliver. I am convinced that it is the strength of the grassroots movement right around Scotland, in communities right around Scotland. I think that is the key edge, the key advantage that the Yes campaign has. And I believe that as we get closer to September 18th, it's going to become a more and more important advantage, and will have a lot to do with the fact that we will achieve a majority on September 18th. The Yes campaign is now so diverse. There are so many strands of it, so many elements of it. So many new organisations have come into existence which didn't exist a couple of years ago. Labour for Indy is a comparatively new arrival in the Scottish scene. Just about 2 years old, Alan, I think now, almost exactly 2 years old. Women for Independence is a comparatively new entity. You have things like National Collective, Business for Scotland, all these sources of energy and ideas and debate. Alan referred to the Common Weal project that the Jimmy Reid Foundation have nurtured and developed. Suddenly, all this output, all this creativity, all this energy around the kind of society that we want to have. And I think it's a fantastic, exciting time. And I do believe that we will get the benefit of that, we will get the real advantage of that on September 18th. The key to what we're doing is the strength on the ground, the volunteer network, the number of people and the energy of people right around Scotland who are working hard for this campaign. And in the end, what that comes down to is conversation. It comes down to people talking to people. Sometimes in halls like this, when there's quite a lot of us gathered together, but much, much more often, it's people talking in very small numbers. It's a conversation around the family table. It's a conversation in the pub. It's a conversation in the workplace. And I'm sure you all are talking to people. I think there's probably a large number of people in the hall who are already decided they're voting yes. I know there are some undecideds. I'm sure there are some people who at this stage are thinking they're going to vote no. We are all talking about this now. Scotland is talking about the referendum. And I believe it's in those conversations, again, that we win. My own experience is that I meet very, very few people who are absolutely immovable in this subject. Usually where you get people who are absolutely determined not to entertain the notion of voting yes, there is something in the family history, the family background, their emotional ties and connections that just make it a no-go area for them. But that's a very small percentage of the population. I've had the experience, I'm sure Jean and Alan have had the experience, I'm sure people all have had the experience, of folk who a year ago were telling me the cast iron fact that we voted no, and who now are voting yes. And I think that it's that experience in a million, in fact not just a million, millions of conversations around Scotland between now and September 18th that I think will make a difference. So if I could, I'd like to do just a little bit of, a very small bit of audience participation here, which maybe one or two people have, if you come to other meetings when I've been speaking, and you might have seen this before, but it's worth doing. I mean, I wouldn't dream of asking you all how you're going to vote September 18th, but I think it is worth just thinking about the conversations you have, and the people you talk to, and the people you know, in your circle of acquaintance, your friends, your family, the people you work with. I'd just like to ask you, just if you could raise your hand, for people in the hall now, do you know anyone who was previously thinking they were going to vote yes, who were intending to vote yes, but have now changed their mind and are going to vote no? Can you stick up your hand if you know someone who moved from yes to no? We've got 1, 2, we've got 4. I've got 5. Right. Okay, no. Maybe I said that's a 6 at the back. So if I can turn around the other way and you'll see where I'm going with this. Again, just from the people you know, from your acquaintances, can I ask who knows someone who was intending to vote no and who's now intending to vote yes? Right. That's looking like somewhere over half the people in the hall. And that's not, I mean, to be honest, I have been asking that question in meetings of 50 people, meetings of 500 people, right around Scotland for the last 2 years, and the response is always very similar to that. You can talk to a large hall of people, and there's no one in the hall who knows anyone who's moved from yes to no. You can get up to sometimes 2/3 or more of people at some gatherings and know people who've moved from no to yes. But always the proportions are somewhere around that level, that a third to 2/3 know people who've moved from no to yes. All the feedback we have from around Scotland is that that's what's happening. There is only one direction of travel. All the momentum is towards us. The question is there enough momentum, and there are enough people moving that gets us over the line, gets us past 50% on September 18th? I firmly believe that there is, and that we will do that. But that's not being complacent about it in any way. We need every single vote. We need all of us who believe in a yes outcome to be talking to as many people as we can, and to be using the kind of arguments that you've heard from Jean and Alan to persuade people that really the outcome is most likely to produce the kind of Scotland that you want and that your friends and family want is a yes vote in September. There was a bit of discussion already tonight about the fact that it's now fairly clear what the agenda is at Westminster at a UK level, irrespective of the outcome of the general election in 2015. We can now say with some certainty, I think, that if we had a no vote in Scotland in September, then we face the certainty of austerity. If we have a yes vote in September, we have a chance of prosperity. We do have a chance of an alternative. We know, as Jean and Alan have said, Scotland is already, it's a top 20 country, one of the wealthiest countries in the world, lots of strengths, lots of things going for us, and an opportunity to begin to invest in our people, invest in our economy, grow the businesses, create the jobs that will get that fairer Scotland, that more equal Scotland, that more socially just Scotland that we'd all want to see. So, if I could give you one message today more than anything else, and we'll get into the conversation and start talking about this soon. But if you're going to take away one thing from anything I say, it would be the importance of just talking to people, keep talking to people, and don't write off the folk you spoke to who didn't seem like they were likely yes voters. It's amazing how many people have moved. You're probably aware, the people in the room I know who probably do a bit of door knocking on behalf of the campaign, do a bit of canvassing on behalf of the campaign. You'll therefore be aware that the first question we ask everybody, before we ask anything else, we ask people to place themselves on a scale from 1 to 10. Where 1 is completely against independence and 10 is completely keen on the idea of independence. The one thing we know is every time we go back and check, every time we ask those questions and go back and check, the average keeps moving up. It keeps moving up, nudging further up that scale. And it's almost like people all over Scotland are almost visualising themselves moving up that scale. And it's surprising sometimes, the Scots being a fairly strong people, it's sometimes funny how far people have to move up that scale before they'll actually say they're going to vote yes. I was doing a bit of door knocking in, it was in an Inverurie fairly recently, and I was talking to a woman on the doorstep, and as soon as she opened the door, the very first word she spoke, it was clear she was keen on independence, and she was talking about it very enthusiastically. And so I said, so where would you put yourself on a scale from 1 to 10? Or 7, she said. Because they say, I'll put you down as a yes. Oh no, I'm still undecided. And which I thought was very, very Scottish. But, you know, look, I have no doubt how she's going to vote. But people do, you know, people do want to see themselves as going through a decision-making process. A lot of people in Scotland are on a journey right now. You know, I know lots of people who would surprise you who are already privately yes, whether they come out and publicly say so before September 18, I don't know. I hope so, and keep talking to people. But there is only that one direction of travel. We know that if we vote no, and I think Jean and Alan have both been very eloquent in this, we do face a continuation of what has become, I think, an intolerable situation as part of the UK, where we do have extraordinary levels now of inequality, of poverty, of inequality of opportunity. I just don't believe that we are now in the kind of society that people in Scotland, most people in Scotland, want to be part of. I think you know, you've got people in the Yes campaign who might differ in some respects in terms of their policy preferences or their ideas, and that's healthy and fine, that's democracy. I think the one thing we all agree on is that in Scotland there is a general sense that we look out for one another, that it's not just all about yourself, it is about the community you live in, the community you're part of. And I do think there is a shared sense that your sense of duty and responsibility towards other people doesn't begin and end at your own front door. I think that's a very profoundly Scottish value, and I think one of the reasons for the terrific, the very profound alienation that we've had in Scotland from party politics and the reduction of the voting levels and the people who've just tuned out completely is the sense that the political process seems to be so detached from the Scottish value set, from what people in Scotland really care about. We know one of the things that the campaign is doing, and I'm sure again that people in this hall have been part of it, we are working very hard with in communities and areas of people who don't normally vote to say to them, look, this is if you're only going to vote once, this is the time to vote. All the indications we have are that there's going to be a very, very high turnout in this referendum, and lots of folk who either have given up on voting or in many cases have never voted are saying, yeah, okay, this time I am going to vote. This is something different. I can see this is history, this is an opportunity to put the country on a different direction. So people who had formed the view that their vote didn't count, their vote didn't matter, they didn't have any influence, the politicians are all the same, you know, just count me out. This time, count me in, because they are going to vote. And the one thing we know for sure is that we can get people who felt alienated and just completely detached from the political process to vote this time. Overwhelmingly, they will vote yes. So we have to do a very solid platform for which to build that yes majority and to try to begin to build the kind of Scotland that I think we want. I believe very strongly in this country and in the talent and the capacity and the energy of its people. A lot of the debate in the last 2 years has been based on numbers. It's been based on what a lot of people found at times quite dry debate about not just what the economy is like now, but what the economy is like in 5 or 10 or 20 years. There's been quite a long debate about currency. There's been a fairly technical debate about the terms and conditions on which we would continue to be part of the European Union. Now, all of these things are important. They are very important, and it's very important that we win on each of these issues, and we do, and we keep making the case. And I carry as many numbers in my head as anybody else. You know, you carry lots and lots of numbers in your head. But I do think in life that sometimes the things that really matter are the things that you can't measure. And I have no doubt whatsoever that as an independent country, Scotland will have the energy and the determination to take our opportunities and tackle our problems in a way that we never have up till now. I just believe we have a fantastic opportunity as a country to recreate our society and make it a kind of society and a shape of society that better reflects our values and our beliefs. So I believe in this country, I believe in its future. I hope you do too. So please keep talking to people. Please keep working very, very hard between now and September 18th. And if you were undecided or inclining to know when you arrive this evening, then most of all, please vote yes. Thank you very much.